A woman who performed naked in front of thousands became the most powerful person in the world. This isn't fiction, this is the true story of Empress Theodora. And what she did to get there will shock you. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button because this story has been hidden for over 1,000 years. 6th century Constantinople, the greatest city on earth, and in its entertainment district a young girl named Theodora is about to do something that will change history forever. Theodora wasn't born royal, she was born into the lowest class of society. Her father worked with bears in the hippodrome circus. When he died, Theodora's mother pushed her into entertainment. But this wasn't singing or dancing. In Byzantine times, female entertainers did things that would make your jaw drop. Ancient historians wrote that Theodora would perform with geese in ways I can't even describe on YouTube. She became famous across the empire for her performances. Senators, merchants, everyone knew her name. But here's the twist. This scandalous reputation was about to make her the most powerful woman alive. Enter Justinian, a man whose destiny was written in the marble halls of Constantinople. As the nephew of the reigning Emperor Justin, he was not just another nobleman, he was the chosen heir, the future ruler of the Byzantine Empire. From a young age, Justinian was surrounded by the splendor and intrigue of the imperial court, learning the art of leadership and the weight of responsibility that came with the crown. The city of Constantinople, with its golden domes and bustling markets, was the heart of a world-spanning empire. Justinian was poised to inherit it all, the power, the glory, and the burden of keeping the empire united. But then, something unexpected happened. Justinian fell hopelessly in love with Theodora, a woman whose beauty and intelligence captivated him completely. She was unlike anyone he had ever met, bold, witty, and fiercely independent. Their connection was instant and undeniable, a spark that defied the rigid boundaries of the imperial court. But there was a problem, a big problem. Whispers filled the palace corridors, and advisors exchanged worried glances. Theodora's past was no secret, and it threatened to upend everything. Roman law was clear and unforgiving. Anyone of royal blood was strictly forbidden from marrying actresses or entertainers. The rules were designed to protect the purity of the imperial line, and breaking them meant severe consequences. The punishment for defying this law was harsh: loss of all noble titles, banishment from the empire, and disgrace that would haunt a family for generations. Many had been cast out for far less. But Justinian was undeterred. His love for Theodora was so powerful that he risked everything: his future, his reputation, even the stability of the empire. He pleaded with his uncle, Emperor Justin, arguing that love and loyalty were more important than outdated laws. Against all odds, Justinian succeeded. The emperor agreed to change the law, rewriting the very rules that had governed the empire for centuries. For the first time, love triumphed over tradition in the halls of power. The decision sent shockwaves through the royal court. Nobles and courtiers were outraged, their voices rising in heated debate. Many saw Theodora as a threat, an outsider who would bring ruin to the empire. They hurled insults at her, calling her a prostitute, a demon, even a destroyer of the empire. Theodora faced scorn and hostility at every turn, but she stood her ground with remarkable courage. Despite the backlash, Justinian and Theodora were married in a lavish ceremony that stunned the empire. Their union was more than a love story. It was a revolution, a bold statement that the old ways could be challenged. The people watched in awe as the new couple took their place at the heart of the empire. For many, it was a sign of hope, proof that even the most powerful could be moved by love. And then, fate intervened. Emperor Justin died, and in a moment that stunned the world, Theodora, once a performer on the city's stages, was crowned Empress of the Byzantine Empire. Her journey from the shadows to the throne would change history forever. When Theodora first entered the imperial palace, most people assumed she would be just a pretty face, a decorative empress with no real influence. The Byzantine court was used to women being seen but not heard, and many expected her to quietly fade into the background, overshadowed by her powerful husband Justinian. But Theodora shattered every expectation. The courtiers and citizens who underestimated her were in for a rude awakening. From the very first day, she wielded power with a confidence and authority that made it seem as if she had been born to rule. She was no mere ornament, she was a force of nature, commanding respect and even fear from those around her. Theodora didn't just whisper advice to Justinian behind closed doors. She co-ruled the empire, sitting beside him on the throne, making decisions that shaped the fate of Byzantium. Her voice carried as much weight as the emperor's and sometimes even more. Foreign ambassadors who once might have ignored an empress now had to bow before her, recognizing her as a true sovereign in her own right. They brought her gifts, sought her favor, and knew that her word could change the course of their missions. Even the empire's most hardened generals took orders from Theodora. She was involved in military strategy, and her decisions could send armies marching or call them back from the brink. She built her own network of spies and loyal supporters within the palace walls. These agents kept her informed of every whisper, every plot, every shifting alliance. Theodora was always one step ahead of her rivals. But her power wasn't just political. Theodora used her influence to change the very laws of the land. She championed reforms that were revolutionary for her time. Women could now own property, something almost unheard of in the ancient world. Divorced women, who had once been left destitute and powerless, could now keep their children and maintain a measure of independence. Theodora made rape punishable by death, sending a clear message that women's safety mattered. She also banned forced prostitution, rescuing countless women from lives of exploitation and misery. Remember, this was 1500 years ago, a time when women had almost no rights anywhere in the world. Theodora's reforms were nothing short of revolutionary, and they sent shockwaves through Byzantine society and beyond. But not everyone was happy with her newfound power. In the shadows of the palace, her enemies were plotting, whispering about how to bring her down. The old aristocracy, powerful church leaders, and jealous senators all saw Theodora as a threat to their own influence. They resented her boldness and the changes she brought, and they wanted her gone, no matter the cost. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown. Theodora's enemies were about to get their chance, and the fate of the empire hung in the balance. January 532 AD. The city of Constantinople, capital of the Byzantine Empire, awakens to a day that will be etched into history forever. The air is thick with tension and the streets are restless. Suddenly the Nika riots erupt, sending shockwaves through the heart of the empire. What began as a dispute at the chariot races in the Hippodrome has now spiraled into a full-scale uprising. The city is thrown into chaos as rival factions, the Blues and the Greens, unite in their fury against the emperor. Flames consume the city. Homes, shops, and even sacred churches are set ablaze. Half of Constantinople is burning, the night sky glowing red with destruction. The sound of crackling fire and panicked screams fill the air. The mob, tens of thousands strong, surges toward the imperial palace. Their voices thunder with a single chilling chant: "Death to Justinian! Death to Theodora!" The very foundations of the empire seem to tremble beneath their rage. This was no ordinary riot. This was a revolution in the making. The people of Constantinople, once loyal subjects, now threaten to tear down everything Justinian and Theodora have built. Inside the palace, panic spreads like wildfire. The rebels have already chosen a new emperor, and Justinian's most trusted generals are losing faith. Some are even plotting to switch sides, hoping to save themselves from the mob's wrath. Advisors, nobles, and wealthy citizens scramble to escape the city, abandoning their posts and their emperor. The corridors of power are suddenly empty, echoing with fear and betrayal. In his private chambers, Justinian, ruler of millions, is gripped by despair. He paces anxiously, torn between his duty and his survival. The weight of the empire presses down on his shoulders. As the night deepens, the emperor makes a desperate decision. He begins to pack his belongings, preparing to flee the city under the cover of darkness. The mighty ruler of Byzantium, reduced to a fugitive in his own palace. His council gathers in a tense, candle-lit meeting. Every advisor, every general agrees, we must escape or we will surely be killed. The mood is grim, the sense of doom overwhelming. But then, in the midst of fear and chaos, Theodora rises. All eyes turn to her. Once an actress, an outsider, now the Empress, she commands the room with her presence. With unwavering resolve, Theodora delivers a speech that will echo through the ages. Her words cut through the panic like a blade, silencing the room. "Those who have worn the crown should never survive its loss," she declares, her voice steady and clear. She reminds them all that dignity and courage are worth more than life itself. She turns to Justinian, her gaze unwavering. "If you wish to flee, Emperor, the ships are ready, but I will not run. I will stay and face whatever comes. I would rather die an empress than live in exile," she proclaims, her words ringing with conviction. In that moment, Theodora's courage becomes the empire's last hope. Justinian is transfixed. He sees in his wife a strength and bravery that outshines all his generals. Theodora, once dismissed by the elite, now stands as the true backbone of the empire. Inspired by Theodora's words, Justinian finds his resolve. Together, the imperial couple rallies their loyal troops and prepares to defend the palace. They will not abandon their city. Theodora's determination turns the tide. Loyal soldiers storm the hippodrome where the rebels have gathered and crush the insurrection with brutal force. The rebellion is over. The cost is staggering. 30,000 rebels lie dead in the hippodrome, the very arena where Theodora once performed as a young woman. The city is scarred, but the empire stands. Against all odds, the girl who began with nothing has saved an empire. Theodora's courage in the face of disaster changed the course of history and ensured her place as one of the most remarkable women to ever wear a crown. For the next 16 years, Theodora ruled alongside Justinian as the most powerful woman in the world. She built hospitals, reformed laws, expanded the empire from Spain to Persia. But here's what's really crazy. After she died, the church tried to erase her from history. They were so threatened by a former entertainer becoming empress that they banned her story for centuries. Even today, historians argue about her. Was she a brilliant political genius, or a manipulative seductress? Was she a feminist icon or a ruthless dictator? Here's what we know for sure. A woman from the absolute bottom of society climbed to the very top and changed the world forever. Theodora's story proves that your beginning doesn't determine your ending. From circus performer to empress, from outcast to world ruler, she rewrote the rules of power itself. What do you think? Was Theodora a hero or a villain? Let me know in the comments. If this blew your mind, wait until you see our next video about Cleopatra's real appearance. It's nothing like Hollywood shows you. Subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss it. And remember, history is full of incredible stories they don't teach in school. See you in the next one.